Hello everyone, my name is Jordan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some series that I really need to complete. So this video is kind of inspired in a way by Steph from Steph Love's Final Book Support Group, which is a reading group she started last month. And it's basically encouraging you to read that last book in series and complete series. So today I'm going to be talking about all the series that I need to do that with. I'm only going to be talking about the series that I know for sure I want to finish, or if not, then I'm just slightly borderline not sure. It could go either way. So I'm not talking about those series that I've DNF'd, the series that I've put on hold for now for a while. I'm just talking about the ones that I really want to make progress on this year. If I could, that would be great. I think I have about 19 series to talk about today. I'm not going to go into too much detail on each of those because this would be a very long video if I did. So I'm just going to start with the series that are not completely published yet, but there are still some currently published that I have not read. And I only have 3 of those right now, which is a good number in my opinion. So first off, we have the Inheritance Games trilogy. I have read the first book, which is the Inheritance Games, and I own the second one, which is the Hawthorne Effect, the Hawthorne Legacy, that's what it is. I always get that name wrong. And the Final Gambit comes out later this year, which I'm super excited to read. I absolutely loved the first book when I read it a couple years ago. It's very big Knives Out vibes, mystery, inheritance, obviously. Lots of puzzles and riddles and things of that nature. So it's your classic YA mystery story, and I really enjoyed it. So I want to finish it up or read more from the series. The second series is the Crescent City series. I've only recently read House of Earth and Blood, and House of Sky and Breath only recently came out. So I'm not too behind on this one because I hope to get to it really soon. I loved House of Earth and Blood so much when I read it. I know people aren't enjoying House of Sky and Breath as much as the first one, but I really love that urban fantasy world and anything Sarah J. Maas writes. I've loved it all. So I'm intrigued to see where the series continues. Intrigued to read more from these characters that I really enjoyed. I loved everything about it. The world building, the characters, the plot, the mystery. I'm just excited to get to this one, hopefully soon. And then the third series that I want to catch up on is Blood and Ash. Now this one I didn't enjoy as much as the other two I've mentioned on the series already, but I am still intrigued. There's a lot of hype surrounding this one. It's your typical fantasy romance, really, involving creatures and politics and betrayals and quest and travel. And I know the series has like the prequel series to read in between some of the Blood and Ash series. I've so far only read from Blood and Ash. I know the third book is kind of very hit or miss for a lot of people. I'm still intrigued to see where this is going, especially with the hype that's been around the most recent release. I guess hype isn't the correct word, but the more controversy and critiques. It's made me way more intrigued to catch up on this series. So those are the 3 series that aren't finished publishing that I would like to catch up on. Now I'm going to list a lot more series that are currently all published and that I've only read the first few books from, if I've even read more than one book from. So we're going to start with The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. This series I started reading when the first book came out. Big Glee fan. Anything Chris Colfer added his name to, I was intrigued by, and the plot is very interesting. These twins fall through this storybook into the land of stories with all kinds of fairy tales and creatures, and there's a mystery element, and they just explore this fairy tale land. And I absolutely love this series. The only reason I haven't finished it is because I could not get my hand on a hardcover copy of book 5, so I only had the last 2 books to read, but I'm going to reread the whole series in one block so I can refresh my memory, and because it's just so enjoyable. This is probably my favorite middle grade series I've ever read, and I cannot recommend it enough. So I'm recommending it to myself to read it soon. The next series I want to finish is the Charlotte Holmes series. I've read everything except the last book in the series, and I just want to finish it up, see how it ends. This one is about the descendants of Watson and Holmes and their adventures and mysteries and dealing with the Moriartys. It's a lot darker than I expected going into it, especially for a YA series. I enjoyed at least the first and the third book. The second one was mediocre, but I am interested to finish off the series and see the revelations of everything. The next series I want to complete is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I read the first book in this last year, and I got the second two for Christmas. So again, as with all of these, I want to read them this year if possible. This is a murder mystery. It involves a case in this town that was solved, but we're not sure if the perpetrator, who is actually the one that everyone thinks is guilty, actually committed the crime. So Pippa, our main character, spends her senior project trying to discover what actually happened. I really love mystery novels and just case solving. That stuff is intriguing to me, and I really loved this one. I guess I'm going to say that about all of the series, because why else would I want to continue if I didn't really love it? But yes, this one is one of my top priorities to finish this year, hopefully. The next series is the Nevernight Chronicle by Jake Kristoff. I have read the first two books in this, and I'm hoping to start the third and final one this week. This book, Nevernight, took me by surprise when I read it. Buzzwords would be assassin, competition, school of assassins. That is all what drew me in, and I definitely enjoyed this way more than I expected to, so I'm hoping to finish the series this year, or this month even, because I only have one book left, and I'm really enjoying it. The next series I need to finish is the Throne of Glass series. I know, I've read most of the other books that Sarah J. Maas has published, and I read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight when those were the only two books out. And I've reread them 3 times now, so I really need to finish the series. I just reread them this past month in preparation to continue with the series, and I did actually make some progress by reading The Assassin's Blade. This is one of the longer series on my list, but one of the ones that I'm drawn to the most, just because I love Selena Sardathian and SJM, and I want to just finish the series, the first series she finished, to see what it's like, what happens. The next series I need to finish is the Serpent and Dog Trilogy. I read Serpent and Dog, and I have not read Blood and Honey or Gods and Monsters yet. This one is a witchy story, enemies to lovers romance. This witch and a witch hunter somehow end up married. That's all you need to know, really. I love a good witchy story, and I really enjoyed this one when I read it a couple years ago. So I'm hoping to finish the series this year as well. I guess I can stop saying that because that's the point of this video. The next one I need to finish is actually a duology, and that is The Carls by Hank Green. I read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing on the recommendation of a friend, and it was so much more than I expected. Okay, ignore that. It was so much more than expected. I enjoyed the mystery, the competition, the technological aspect of it all. I don't see exactly where the plot of the second one could go, but I am super intrigued to find out, and it's only a duology, so it should be super easy to finally finish up. The next trilogy I want to read is The Aurora Cycle by Amy Kaufman and Jake Kristoff. I've read the first 2. I just read the second one in preparation again for reading the third one, and I'm hoping to get to that one this month as well, hopefully. It's a classic space opera, big cast of characters. I wasn't super keen on the second book, but I've heard the third one is miles above even the first one, so that makes me excited to continue the series and finish it soon. The next one is a classic YA series. It's TheDarkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. I've read TheDarkest Minds twice now, I think, and I wanted to continue, but I just didn't have access to the sequels, but I now have them. I bought them on Kindle last year when they were on sale, I believe, so I'm super intrigued to finally read this whole series. I'm definitely going to need a refresher on The Darkest Minds. All I know is that these kids have powers, and I think maybe one of them has the power, if they touch you, they kill you? Is that it? I could be completely wrong. I obviously need to reread The Darkest Minds. This is one of the classic YA series that I've been intrigued to finish since I didn't read it back when it was being published, so I'm going to finally try to do that soon. The next series is somewhat finished, but somewhat not, and that is the Selection series. I've read the first 3 in the original trilogy, and then I've read the first one in the continuation with the daughter, but I have not finished it, and that's only 1 book to read. I know it's not the best. Some people say stop at the 1, but since I've read at least the first one of the continuation, I would like to at least see if I can get my hands on and try the final book in this series, just so I can say I finished it. And I mean, they're not great books, they're just quick, easy, fun, guilty pleasure reads, and I enjoy them a lot. The next series is the Dorothy Must Die series. I read Dorothy Must Die when it came out because I'm a big Wizard of Oz fan, and I really enjoyed it. I don't remember too much what it is about now, so I will need to reread that, but I would enjoy continuing the series and seeing all of the characters that I love in the Wizard of Oz movie in this retelling recreation story, because I think the basis of this is that Dorothy has gone mad. Another duology that I need to finish is the Villains duology by V.E. Schwab. I read Vicious right around the time that it was announced that Vengeful was coming out, and I just haven't continued with it. It's a sci-fi story with superheroes or anti-heroes. These 2 college kids doing their college project leads to some interesting circumstances. But again, it's just 1 book, so it should be simple to finish another series on my list. The next one is also a duology, and that is The Ravens by Daniel Page and Cass Morgan. I think it's got that great Halloween-y, spooky season vibe, so I think it would be great to read the sequel. Then I've heard that both books kind of have separate plots, so you can almost read them as standalones. Yeah, this book kind of surprised me when I read the first one. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. It wasn't 5 out of 5 great book by all means, but I did enjoy it a lot, and I would love to continue with The Ravens, or The Monarchs, that's the sequel. Alright, just 2 more left on my list. So, A Course of Dragons is a series that I started this year on the recommendation of Jade from J.D. Ray Reads, and I've read the first 2 books so far because they were on Kindle Unlimited. These books are immensely confusing, do not get me wrong, and I haven't enjoyed them exactly, but there's still a high level of intrigue that I need to know what's happening, because even though it is confusing, it's like almost a mystery to figure out who is who and who is related to and what's going on. And it's this world full of demons and dragons and princes who have been told the wrong things and people who were supposed to bring the fate at the end of the world. A lot is going on. I'm intrigued to at least continue with the next book or 2 to see if I'm still vibing with the series. And the final one on my list today is the Child Trilogy by R.J. Barker. This is a book I started reading for Covers with Cassidy's Backlist Book Club, and we're reading the 3rd and final one this month, so I will be finishing it. It's not the best series. I've rated both books 3 stars thus far, I believe. There's not much character development. The plot is kind of iffy. Things happen in disjointed ways almost. I still want to wrap it up. It's just 1 more book, and I want to see where the cast of character goes and just how things end up. Like I said, I'm probably going to be reading it anyway for the book club, so it will be a series that I finish. So there you have it. Those are the series that I at least want to try to finish, try to read another book or 2 from, see if I'm still vibing with it. Like I said, I hope I can make progress on at least some of those this year. But that's all I have for you today. Let me know if you enjoyed, and I will see you with another video soon. Bye!